Hello, fellow traveler. Please tell me something about POK history, your great mapping project starting at the year 800.
Well, this is a new plan because I've tried various other things on this site before, and do you mind if I tell you a little bit about what park history actually is? Because maybe some of our listeners don't actually know. It's actually part of a group called Politics UK that started up in about 2010. It's formed by a couple of internet political debaters, Alan Wiley and Richard Fraser, and they didn't like the standard of the debate on Facebook. They thought that things were what debate pages there were getting trolled, and they wanted to start something a bit different. And gradually, people got on board this.
So facts, not fake news, and not opinions, but research,
and not letting trolls take over discussions. And this basically. I got on board quite early, wasn't one of the first people to discover it, but I started to contribute, and I very quickly joined the admin team. But I think in the early days we got a little bit carried away. Because we were trying to do more and more pages related to different things. Like had a page for Scotland, a page for England, a page for Northern Ireland, a page for USA relations, and it was my idea to start park history. But there were all these subsidiaries, and they've gradually whittled down, and now there's just a Facebook group where really most of the things happen. But every now and then I keep trying to put park history back together because I think there's a lot of potential for it. I don't think people, particularly in Britain, are really as aware as they should be about our history and the exact order in which things happened. And I first started off with this series, Quote for the Day, which was looking at something that a famous historical personality said on that day. And this carried on sporadically for the last few years. I took a lot of breaks, and I think it produced quite a lot of interesting comment and debate. But I took an extended break from it because of course it's all voluntary. You don't have to be doing it all the time because nobody's paid for working on PUC or anything like that.
Facebook, you must have idealism, but not also idealism, but also if you make it seriously. So I'm always astonished. Did you study history or?
Well, I studied history at school in the normal way, but I mean, I think probably. Well, a lot, but I was always infused by history when I was a small child before I even studied it at school. So I had a lot of facts and figures at my fingertips without possibly even properly understanding them because I was only just a very small child at the time. But of course I kept this interest going, and as I grew up I became dismayed at the amount of proper history people know and the amount that people focus more on fake news sites and alternative history things and don't always know exactly the facts that are in the. So I've tried to, with all the articles I've written, I've tried to be fair and unbiased to say this is as far as we know what happened.
For me, being a German, it's sometimes I don't know which person it means, but the language it's quite good. It's quite easy to understand. It's not too complicated.
I didn't want to be like a
English,
professor,
but it's not too sophisticated. So not with footnotes or all these.
Yes, I wanted to.
It's really so that me being coming from another country, I'm interested.
I wanted to make history, not just British history. I mean, I've put some articles on world history and the quote for the day. I wanted to make to simplify things, but to also keep to the facts and to make things interesting and exciting for people who might not normally have been interested in the subject I was writing about.
But definitely I was astonished as I saw this map. In Germany we say always England, but this is Great Britain or United Kingdom or what else? But we say England, and that it's split into so many different countries. And I think you started at the year 800.
Because this is. I'll explain this new series in a bit more detail.
Yes.
Because I wanted to do something a bit different from quote for the day, because I think that had run its course. I'd done so many articles in that way in the past, and that was why I'd taken such a long break. So I thought I'll do something a bit different. I will actually try to tell in very concise forms the entire history of Britain, but where to start? Because of course I could go right back into prehistory, talk about the Beacon people, talk about and then gradually the Roman invasion and the Celts and the gradual. But this is a very long time scale. So I thought, where does British history, modern British history, where does it start? And I thought 800 is a good starting point, because you still got a very fragmented map. You've got the Saxons are establishing themselves still. There's still Mercia is dominant, but that's not to be the case for long. You've got the Welsh kingdom split, you've got the Irish kingdom split, you've got Scotland doesn't exist.
Being a German and living in Saxony, I think there's Wessex and Sussex and Essex. And at that time, that kind of Saxony I'm living in, east of Germany, it did not exist. It was the area around Hamburg.
This was an interesting thing for you as a German, because of course Germany as a one united country didn't exist till the 19th century.
No. You start. That's the second point. What I thought. Okay, he starts at the year 800, and I say, please let me say England or England. It's the wrong word, but I say. But the British Island, maybe I say islands or so, are split into so many different countries and kingdoms. I thought, okay, at which time Germany was united? It was united in 1918, and before this, maybe in 1871, there was Prussia. But before. And also at that time it was split in so many small kingdoms. If you look at Thüringen was I think the husband of Queen Victoria.
Góra.
Came from a very small.
Prince Albert.
It's a kingdom half of the Isle of Man. So only Thüringen was split into 20 around 20 kingdoms. So Germany was rather all the time split. But I was very astonished. Then Britain was split, and then I thought, oh shit, what happened? From the north, the Scandinavians came, and then the Saxons came. I think the Saxons, and from Denmark the people, then there's the Celtics, and always war, and it came from everywhere. And my impression was, oh shit. It was a brutal time, and you write in sequences of 10 years, and after 10 years, just the map differs. And 10 years after, it differs again. Now I think you are at 900.
930.
And I googled it a little bit. 900. Last I said 920. I think it was a time when the island was rather everything was red. But the next
930. This was actually
but the
a
next,
short time.
It was really short. The next it was split again, and I thought, oh my God, those British people nowadays, they have it in their unconscious memory that this island was always split into 1,000 parts and would change, and enemies came from everywhere.
Yeah, this is a good
and
reason.
Now, how to hold it together? Or
this was another good reason for starting in 800, because you have everything coalescing. You have a lot of very exciting period with all these incursions from the Vikings and and within each other's kingdoms. You have power struggles in the Saxon kingdoms that actually end up wiping out the smaller ones till one becomes the dominant one, and that was the surprise, because the way things have been going before the 9th century,
yes,
you would have thought it would be Mercia that would become the dominant Saxon kingdom, but it ended up being Wessex.
And this Mercia was a Saxon?
Yes, yeah, it was a Saxon kingdom. Yes.
Other impression I had, I knew the story was maybe Lord Mountbatten, former Battenberg German, or then the Kingdom of Hanover in coalition with British Kingdom, and all this was a Saxon Coburg. These relationships between Germany and Germany itself, maybe the Holy Empire of German nations, das Heilige Römische Reich Deutscher Nation, the Holy Roman Empire of German nation. This area, but then when you started 800, you said, oh yes, there's the Saxons that also come from Germany, and so there always had been interference or what between
you know,
German and British.
One of the reasons why Wessex became dominant was that the King Egbert, the first king of Wessex, not the first king of Wessex, but the first king to achieve dominance in the British Isles, and to actually challenge the Mercian supremacy. King Egbert had been exiled on the continent, and he was a friend of Emperor Charlemagne, the first Holy Roman Emperor. And this was, so his links...
The first or the last? Roman Empire.
The first Holy Roman Empire.
The Holy Roman Empire of German nation.
Of the Franks, yeah.
In the continent, yes.
Yeah, you know, but for the first
Heiliges Römisches Reich Deutscher Nation.
Yeah. But this was also, of course, the foundation of the French kingdom as well, because he was ruling both.
Sorry that I interrupt you, but these are so many details, and you can read the details on Facebook and then Google it and be astonished about this. And this is what the next point is. I think in August it began day after day after day. Wham. I thought, wow, but Buddy is riding through the night, and at midnight the next...
I'm taking a bit of a break at the moment because I'm working on a festival, but I'll be back on Sunday with the next episode.
Oh, I thought this can't be possible. I think maybe he prepared all these files during the last 2 or 3 years, and then he smashes into Facebook. What's the way you are working on it?
Well, I look at the
preparing for ages, for months or so, and then collecting books.
No, not really. I look at the lists that are available online and in books that I have of who was king, where, when. Especially during this time when there are lots of kings. I mean, later on, it's easier to do because
yes, but you know so much about the connection, and you write it in intelligent, elegant style. So you must have a wide.
I
don't know how to say it in English. That you must studied historic things for ages. Also,
yes, but I mean, in this
you
case,
must have a wide background for that.
yeah, but I have a lot of books at home and there are lots of resources on the internet that I can check things at the last moment, and just because what I'm writing is okay, it might be there might be a lot to. There might be a lot of information there, but I'm trying to do it very concisely, and I'm not covering it in a huge amount of detail.
No, this is very good, that would be boring.
That would be, well, it depends how much detail you want, because some people, I'm hoping that that for very basic details I'm giving, people who are interested in researching that story a little bit more will go to the books and find it. But I mean, for instance, this, you know, I could make a more, I could be more ambitious, and I could be talking about what was going on the continent as well.
Yes, maybe. But I thought that's what's the idea. For example, I thought when he would come to the year 1020 and forward, there was for ages or centuries there was a connection between Britain and France, and so. Will he also show a map of France?
This is what I'm not sure, because I haven't reached that point yet. I mean, I've got about 100 years to go in the time scale of the thing before we come to the Norman invasion. And then I'm not sure how I proceed. Do I just continue to show the British Isles, or do I show the territory that was, you know, potentially, as we go further on, I could expand it, and when we get to beyond the 60s.
What about the map? When I saw the map 20 years ago, I worked for a historic exhibition, and I bought some map programs with old DOS, not Windows DOS system, and then I googled which system?
This is just a very basic free map app on the computer. It's not even actually what I really want, because what I would prefer, right, it's just the first thing I found. The limitation that I have.
It's free, so
it's free.
May you mention the name?
Map chart. But its limitation is basically that you can only fill in modern counties. So there are some instances where my map is not accurate, because I can only fill in a whole county as in its modern sense.
But it's for Facebook. I think this is for the modern style of internet. You watch it your smartphone, and then you have the map there, and you don't look whether maybe Essex also, if there are these parts of Essex, like this is, you have it on the smartphone, and you want to have nice information. You have a small teaser always. That's funny. I like this teaser very much, and it's a special style. This teaser, it's a little bit thrilling also.
But British history is thrilling, and especially at this time when nobody could predict what would happen next. And I'm trying to write it almost like a news report, as if it is happening now. And so nobody, even though we know what happened next, it's like a kind of, imagine you are in Britain in the 800s, and you don't know where things are going to be in 10 years' time.
Yes.
And so and well, surprise, this king died, or this person was, or this kingdom was completely wiped out, or this place that you thought was completely secure under the Vikings is suddenly been taken back by the Saxons, or the King of Scotland has suddenly become more powerful. You never know what is going to happen.
Yes, and it's not as like boring as I remember in school history. 753 bei Isses Keilerei, oder this was all this. You have to always have these figures, and when something happened, maybe the Rome, foundation of Rome, and so, and all the stupid names, and afterwards you forgot it. Yes, vomit it out when you have the test, and this is quite it's quite fine. But just before I forget it, you mentioned this invasion of the in 2030, or how do you mention this?
2030.
Norman invasion.
Oh, you mean 1066? The Norman invasion. This is coming.
2066. But okay.
No. 1066. 1066.
Yes.
Yeah.
1066.
But this is.
Okay, I speak German, but German it's also a base of British look. If you do not believe it, watch to UK history and all this articles of full of fair weather. Then we will, but that you will see that it's just fact. But what I thought, my impression, my emotional impression was, oh shit, all those years, invasion from the north, invasion from the east, invasion from there and there and there, and absolute, this poor island, so destabilized, and maybe some kind of anarchy there. Yeah. And then they say, well, 1,000 and something else. I hate figures. You like them. That's good. That's why you're a historian and I'm not. 1,000 and something else. There was the last invasion, and after that, no invasion anymore.
Not exactly.
You mean Adolf Hitler and Jürgen, but this is not so. Okay, then you mean Napoleon, but Napoleon also.
I don't mean that. I'm talking successful invasion. There was this. Lots of people think that 1066 was the final successful. It's not exactly true.
But also the Armada didn't succeed.
You know, there were several invasions that didn't succeed, but there were also other invasions that were not necessarily military invasions, but that they took over in different ways. But
you don't mean actual politics.
To jump ahead. This would be like a spoiler. This would be like a spoiler for what is to come.
I like spoilers.
And you know, I like spoilers too, but some people don't. Some people would like to read each episode as it happens.
So close your ears for the next 10 seconds if you. Okay, but now comes the spoiler.
No, I don't give any spoilers. I don't give any spoilers. But the interesting thing is that this is the way to see, because if it carries on on the time scale that I'm writing it, i.e. 10 years per day, with a few breaks, because I can't do it every day.
Yes,
I can't do it at the moment.
Exactly.
So at the moment I'm having a break, but I'll be back on Sunday with the next episode. But you know, this actually won't take very long. I had some guy on the Politics page where I share the Pack History posts, and he said, so you have 114 more episodes to go. I said, yeah, that's not actually so long. And by the time I finish, it will be quite early in 2020. So this will be perfect, the perfect time to stop, because it will actually be a 10-year gap. And so in fact, but we're talking about a very small time scale, because the whole series will be finished quite early in 2020. So this is only a few months to do the whole thing.
But this is also what I thought when I read the first of your article. Maybe also people in Britain, maybe I mentioned the United Kingdom, I mentioned the word right also. I'm a German. We also say Holland and Netherlands. Holland is not Netherlands. Different. And also in Germany, the East Germans, they don't say East Germans, they say Mitteldeutsch or Middle Germany. Okay, 60 years ago they lost the East German race to Poland.
We're in East Germany now.
But they say this is Middle Germany, and they are not the East Germans. So Okay, but when British people now read a little bit about history, they see how this island was split into so many different areas, and maybe that they feel nowadays danger of what do you say? I don't know. A historiker, I don't know the English word, historiker we say in Germany, always looks to the past. He does not look to the present. It's not allowed to look at the present. It's only allowed to learn from the past if you look to the present.
I think the trouble is that the current mentality in Britain, a lot of people, they can only look back as far as the Second World War, or in some cases they can only look back as far as 1979.
Oh, that's another question.
As if everything changed in these kind of situations, and that. But it didn't really. And by learning about what happened over the course of history, you learn far more about who we are, why we're there, and what we can do next. If we just settle our minds on the 20th century and the conflicts of the 20th century and how they were resolved and what happened afterwards, which is what most people. That's in many ways a lot of people's perception of history, and then before it's just jolly stories about kings and things that happened and as if it's like a fantasy Disneyland kind of thing. This is not what history really is. History is real, and we can learn from it.
That's a good point. So watch Philip Fairweather with this project. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Philip.